Thank you, Blair. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
How are you all doing? Awesome. So I think by my scan, I may be right to say that majority here are the under 35, right? I think we are the minority. So today I'm actually going to be speaking more to you rather than to those who are, say, my compatriots. If I was to ask Kevin his idea of the future, Kevin's my colleague here, I'm pretty sure it will have something to do with the kind of life that he wants to create for himself and his daughters, right? So if you don't make it that personal, to be honest, it will just be something that's afar off that will not really drive you. If you asked some of us when we were your age what we were looking forward to in terms of future, one of the words that we used to really hold on to, which we realize you guys don't have as much, is this thing called financial security, or financial freedom in that sense. And what did that mean for us? It meant that we were constantly thinking, okay, what's the next place we can make money from, etc. And part of that meant we were some of the young people who at that time began to invest more actively in stocks. We lost money, let me be honest, but we also had our ups in that sense. But the thing here is when you're clear about the future you're trying to drive towards, you then are looking out for information that will make you take advantage or become a player in that future. So all these questions I'm asking is not necessarily just for you to give me, and like I said, it's not really to impress me, it's for you to really ask yourself, what's the future look like for you? And then when we add a green future for you as a person, why? Why is it important for you to see that? And I'll share a couple of things, not too many, there's a whole lot more that you can read about the future that's about to come and how it could be potentially beneficial for someone like you that is possibly just about to start their career. One, I'll speak about the space of energy. This is a very personal view, but in my view, energy is to economies, is to the evolution of man, is to, development of countries, the same thing that food is to the body. If we don't have energy, we're unlikely to really progress as a nation, as a continent, as economies. We need energy. And in Africa, the energy gap is very significant. Now, one of the things that we have come to appreciate is the reality is that we're so far behind so many other developed nations. We're unlikely to grow or to develop in the same manner that they have. Similar to most of you may not remember this, when some of us were younger, the banking industry was we were excluded from the banking industry, let me put it that way. If you didn't have money at a certain level, you couldn't really get an account. But M-Pesa came and disrupted the way banking was done. So in the same manner, where energy is at in terms of where the energy need is at in Africa, we are unlikely to fulfill that need the same way other developed nations have done it. So the major grids are unlikely to be the way that we evolve. And that will call for a lot more mini grids, microgrids. And one of the stats that came up recently in a conversation this is the summary of different research that's been done, that this is an immediate future. Within this year or the next 2 years, the energy needs in Africa will be, and the additional energy needs is about 25 to 40 gigawatts of power, majority of it which will be satisfied through solar. And part of this conversation was we don't nearly have enough manpower to fulfill that additional need. We don't have enough skills, we don't have enough SMEs who are able to mobilize a kind of devices that would be required to use that energy. So for me, if I were you and listening to something like this, I would be looking at how do I begin to understand that plane of the energy space? How do I become the person who's skilled in one way or another? Because we're going to definitely need a lot more technicians, a lot more operators, a lot more construction crews as well who will build the mini grids or the microgrids. We'll need project managers. We'll need SMEs who are able, like I said, to distribute the products that will leverage this additional energy. So for me, listening to this, I would look at it as how can I be a part of that? So that's one bit of a future that's very immediate that you could be a part of. The other one I think will make my sister here happy, which is the area of clean cooking. Right now, it's estimated in Africa that less than 25% or less than a quarter of Africans have access to clean energy or clean cooking solutions. And it is estimated, this is the IEA who have estimated within the next decade, the number of jobs that will be created by just the clean cooking space specifically, and this is across the whole value chain, is upwards of 460,000 jobs, and this is in Africa alone. And this is, like I said, the whole value chain. This is from manufacturing to distribution to sales to services. You could be a part of that. That's a future that you can look forward to. Third area that I will highlight is the space of agriculture. Now, if there's one thing you will always be guaranteed is that human beings will eat, at least 99%, except if you're ill or you're on a fast, but human beings will eat. It's a sector or an industry that's never going, quote unquote, out of fashion. People will always eat. And what that means for you is if the space of agriculture is an area that, there will consistently be markets, you can look at how do I become a part of that. And one of the things to think about is there is, food security in this part of the world, unfortunately, and although we have a lot of potential, it's not at its best, right? We will definitely need more food than we currently are producing as our populations grow. But what's also happening is that our land is degrading for various reasons, whether it be human movement, whether it be because of climate issues, whether it be because of growing urbanization. There is a degradation of arable land. In fact, I think 2 years ago, someone was sharing with me how in Kenya specifically, we're not always conscious of this, but in Kenya specifically, only about 16% of our land is actually arable. But what are we doing? We are urbanizing so much of it. I think majority of us here must be Kenyan, and we know our neighboring county, Kiambu, which is significantly arable, is very rapidly getting urbanized. So there's less space to produce food. There is more need for food. So how do we bridge this gap? And that's where the space for climate smart or tech-enabled agriculture will come in. And I can tell you we do need hundreds of thousands of young people who will bring the innovation in different parts of the agricultural value chain to drive agriculture that is more productive. We do need a lot more, higher yields, more resilient, able to withstand harsh climates, etc., and ultimately more profitable. Because at the end of the day, if we're not answering an income or an economic need, we will somehow eventually lose, the agricultural, the space, or the people who will practice in that place. Or for some, and I see one of my favorite founders in the room, for those who will be involved in soil, those practices that will repair soils or restore soils. That is another area that you could be thinking about. So all these three areas, and like I told you, there's so many more, are small pictures of the future potential and where you could play a role. So that's the future. How do you become a part of it? And for me, it's three simple things: learn, find others to grow with, and ultimately do something. So learning, I'll highlight specifically. Right now, we are, as a country, mostly net consumers of knowledge or net consumers of information. We have very few people who are actual executors, and we need that. At this point in your journey, we don't really care as much for your titles, that you're the CEO of XYZ or the COO or the founder. Those are great, but what we care about is your skills, your ability to get things done. So at this point, I would implore you, as you're going through your learning journey, as you're pursuing your degrees, don't stop there. In fact, go beyond that. Begin to get actual practical skills that would create value for any ecosystem that you'll be a part of. I won't just say just the organization that you might get a job in, but generally in the ecosystem, what can you do that would demonstrate your ability to drive things forward, to drive change? And in this one, I will acknowledge Teddy and your team, because you're an amazing example of those people who are demonstrating the growing of skills to get things done. So well done. So number 2 was find others to grow with. Discover the ecosystem that you're interested in, whether it's energy, whether it's clean cooking, there was e-mobility that was mentioned here, if it's reforestation, etc. Discover what that ecosystem is about and take a position in it. Be an active participator in it. That means, yes, join it, but actually add value. I will say this, it's great to build visibility, but don't pursue visibility for visibility's sake. Like, don't make it vain. Be loud and post things that we all know is from ChatGPT. I don't have anything against it, but there's no point. Actually add value to the ecosystem, right? And you will be remembered. And the last bit was do something, anything within your means to do. You might find that there's a problem within your immediate community that you can resolve. And I know there's always this challenge of, oh, we don't have funding, oh, they need money. But there's a lot that can be done even before that funding comes. If you, for example, just mobilize 10 young people, and who each mobilize 10 young people, you already have a community of 100. I would listen to you a whole lot more than if there's just a nice deck out there and you're telling me some story. If you've actually done the work of mobilizing young people towards, achieving a certain outcome, I would listen in. Last week, just as I'm about to close, I met a young person. This is after an event that we had been at, and so we're meeting different young people, but you can already tell there's one that really stood out. And the reason he stood out is because he demonstrated these things that I have mentioned. I can tell you up to this point, in my head, I keep thinking, how do I create a job for him? How do I find a job for him? How do I become, like, I'm consistently thinking that way. Why? He did the homework about the things that we are driven to do as an organization. And at the point he was speaking to us, he was demonstrating the things that he has done, not just, the school he has been to, but the things he has done, apps he has built, communities he has grown as a young person or in his level. And he did not necessarily give us his whole portfolio. It was just a 15-minute conversation. He just demonstrated 3 things, and those 3 things were at the heart of the work that we do at JLA. I can tell you, I was with another colleague who's not here today. We were 5 minutes in, we were just thinking, we need to find this young man an opportunity somewhere. We listen to that when you actually are getting things done. So demonstrate by starting wherever you are at. Even if it's seemingly small, start, do something, get things done. You will get noticed. As I close, I will share a bit of how we as Jacobs Ladder Africa can be your partner in this journey. There's many things that we do as an organization, and we can share that with you over the next couple of days. My colleagues will be part of this summit throughout the summit. But I'll just highlight one specific area. Amongst the work that we do is a program that we call Green Labs. And Green Labs is what we like to call like your day zero partner. When you just have an idea, before you have any thought about how it will take form or shape, or you don't even know, how supply chains work or where the customers will come from. That day zero, when you just have an idea, we're your partner on that day. And we will walk with you through that journey from ideation to the point where you begin to establish a business. And through that journey, we will provide you with information, resources, networks, etc., that would help you build it out. We'll give you access to mentors, experts in the industry who can give you the specific, nuanced knowledge that you may need to build or to get forward faster. Provide you access to service providers who we have negotiated rates with, and so you'll be accessing them at a very discounted rate. At the end of the day, you'll not just be saying, I'm a founder, but I can actually I'm actually generating revenue, which gives you a leg up, let me put it that way, in the negotiating table. For those who go beyond a certain point, we're becoming a lot more deliberate about connecting them with funding opportunities, with market opportunities, etc., or just help giving them business development services so that they can grow a whole lot faster. We can share a whole lot more information about how you can be a part of this. I'll ask Kevin, Nelly, Cynthia, and then Godwin here, just raise your hands. If I'm not here, speak to any one of these ones. They can give you a lot more information, or reach out to us. You can scan the QR code here and reach out to us. We will share more information. If innovation is not the journey for you, yours is a different pathway, that's fine as well. Reach out to us. We will find you the right opportunity for you. But at the end of the day, we are committed that that green future that we are seeing will not just be something that you hear about, know about, read about, etc., but you will be an active participant, or actually an actual builder of it. I am still available for the next few hours, so I'm willing to take in any questions outside if need be. Wish you all the very best. Again, to Teddy and team, congratulations for putting this together. We are very humbled to be a part of this. Thank you all very much. Have a blessed day.
Thank you very much, Karen.